Your brain has a built-in alarm system for spending money. Scientists at Carnegie Mellon put people inside brain scanners and watched what happened when they shopped. Every time a price felt too high, the insula fired up. That is the exact same part of the brain that processes physical pain. Spending money hurts your brain the same way touching something hot hurts your hand. This alarm exists to stop you from losing what you have. Now imagine someone found a way to shut that alarm off. That is what Buy Now Pay Later is designed to do. One tap, no cash leaving your hand. A $200 purchase quietly becomes 4 payments of $50. The pain vanishes, the purchase feels almost free, and today, 54% of the people using these loans say they cannot make ends meet without them. They did not start out desperate, nobody does. So how did a simple checkout button become a trap that millions of Americans feel they cannot escape? Why this matters: this is not a small story about a few people overspending. Nearly half of all Americans have used Buy Now Pay Later at least once. By the end of this year, the United States is expected to have over 96 million users. The global market crossed $560 billion in 2025, but the real alarm is how fast things are falling apart. In 2024, 34% of users said they had paid late on a loan within the past year. By 2026, that number jumped to 47%. Almost half of every person using these apps is now falling behind. The number is not holding steady, it is climbing every single year. To understand why this is happening, you have to go back to the beginning. The beginning, for most of human history, buying something meant handing over cash. You watched the money leave your fingers, you felt it go. That feeling was your brain doing its job, warning you to be careful. Then credit cards changed everything. A professor named George Lowenstein at Carnegie Mellon studied this for years. He said credit cards anesthetize the pain of paying. That means they numb it. You swipe a piece of plastic and your brain barely notices the loss. But Buy Now Pay Later pushed it even further. Klarna launched in Sweden in 2005. A firm was founded in 2012 by Max Levchin, one of the men who built PayPal. Afterpay started in Australia in 2014, created by a 24-year-old named Nick Molnar and his neighbor. These companies figured out something powerful. If you break a price into tiny pieces, the brain treats it differently. Researchers at Swinburne University ran an experiment where people shopped for a refrigerator online. One group saw the full price of $600. Another group saw 4 payments of $150. The second group believed the refrigerator was cheaper and were more willing to buy it, even though the total cost was identical. Scientists call this the numerosity effect. The brain looks at the smaller number and decides the price is smaller. It is a simple trick that works on almost everyone, and it is baked into every single Buy Now Pay Later checkout screen. The main story: the trick worked exactly as planned. People started spending more. Research published in the Journal of Marketing Research found that people who adopt Buy Now Pay Later spend about 6% more on average. That sounds small until you spread it across 96 million users. 68% of users openly admit these loans cause them to overspend. Among Gen Z users, 83% say the same. At first, people used it for clothes and electronics. Then it spread to things no one expected. 29% of users now buy groceries with Buy Now Pay Later. That is more than double the 14% from just 2 years ago. 13% have used it to pay rent. People are splitting grocery runs and rent checks into 4 payments because they cannot cover them all at once. The loans pile up. 25% of users have carried 3 or more active loans at the same time. 49% of Gen Z plan to use these apps for major purchases this year. 36% plan to use them for daily basics like food and gas. And here is the number that tells the full story. 54% of users say they literally cannot make ends meet without Buy Now Pay Later. For parents with young children, that jumps to 62%. These are not reckless people. These are people who feel trapped. 54% also say they have regretted a Buy Now Pay Later purchase. But by the time regret shows up, the payments are already locked in. Most people assume that at least someone is watching all this debt add up. For years, no one was. The turning point: Buy Now Pay Later debt has been invisible for most of its existence. The loans were almost never reported to credit bureaus. There was no hard credit check to get approved. A person could owe money to Klarna, Affirm, Afterpay, and PayPal all at the same time, and no bank or lender would ever see it. 63% of users have held multiple loans at once. 33% use more than one company. The debt was real, but on paper it did not exist. Then in February 2025, FICO announced that its new credit score models would include Buy Now Pay Later data for the first time. Millions of people who believed their small installment loans were harmless may soon watch their credit scores drop without warning. The rules changed quietly. Most users still have no idea, and the real cost of this system runs much deeper than any credit score. The biggest reveal: researchers at Johns Hopkins studied over 2,000 adults and published their findings in JAMA Health Forum in 2025. People showing signs of depression were nearly twice as likely to use Buy Now Pay Later. People with anxiety were 1.77 times more likely. People with post-traumatic stress were 2.35 times more likely. In 2026, the American Psychological Association called Buy Now Pay Later a growing financial stressor that bypasses the brain's natural defenses against impulse buying. A financial psychologist named Mary Gresham, with 40 years of experience, said she has never seen so many people paralyzed with stress and fear over money. She added that money is harder for her patients to talk about than sex. The shame stays buried. A study in Sweden followed young people whose debts went to collection agencies. Many could not find landlords willing to rent to them. Some abandoned plans for college out of fear of more debt. Others stopped seeing friends because they were too ashamed. More than half had thought about ending their own lives. This is the vicious cycle. Poor mental health pushes people toward these loans. The debt makes their mental health worse, and the spiral keeps turning. The final lesson. In 2024, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau tried to step in. They issued a rule that would treat buy now pay later loans like credit cards, with the same protections. In 2025, they pulled their own rule back and said enforcement was not a priority. That same December, 7 state attorneys general from California, Connecticut, Colorado, Illinois, Minnesota, North Carolina, and Wisconsin launched a joint investigation into the 6 largest buy now pay later companies. But as of today, no federal law treats these loans the way it treats a credit card. No required credit check. No standard warnings. The industry keeps expanding while the rules sit still. The closing Gen Z has the most time ahead of them of any working generation. Every dollar they invest today has the longest runway to grow. But every dollar locked in installment payments is a dollar that never compounds. The national savings rate is dropping while buy now pay later usage climbs. That trade-off will not reveal its true damage for 20 or 30 years. Remember the brain scanner from the start of this video. The pain you feel when you spend money is not a weakness. It is a warning. Buy now pay later was engineered to silence that warning. And for millions of Americans, it is working exactly as designed.